Zelda game is out, and as is our wont here at Outside Xtra, we have been doing serious grown-up things like this.
Hell yeah!
Woohoo! As you can see, Tears of the Kingdom gives you lots of toys to play with in Nintendo's latest sandbox, and using some of them you can make fun new toys of your own thanks to the Fuse ability, which lets you attach various interesting items to weapons, powering them up or giving them new abilities. Having stuck a whole bunch of things onto a bunch of other things, we're now ready to share with you 7 extremely useful weapons that you construct in the very early game to make your life easier, better and more fun. Enjoy! Unless you're a Bokoblin, in which case this is gonna be a rough watch. Much like in real life, adding rocks to melee weapons gives them some extra oomph. Affixing a lump of stone onto the end of any weapon turns it into an excellent blunt force instrument, with more utility than simply knocking 7 bells out of your enemy. Tears of the Kingdom has a lot of new materials for you to mine, particularly in the depths beneath Hyrule, and you don't want to find yourself short on mining equipment, aka clubs, when you stumble across a nice glistening ore deposit, right? But have no fear, with your new power of sticking rocks to things, you'll never be caught short again. Shoving a rock of any size onto the end of your weapon turns it into an excellent and fast tool for mining. For our money though, the best possible combination is a rock fused on a two-handed weapon such as a claymore or club. This is because their charged attacks are awesome spinning attacks, and with a big old chunk of rock on the end, you're transformed into a whirligig of pain and destruction. This move means you can break down multiple ore deposits at once, or spin your way through rubble-blocked tunnels, saving you from burning through all your hard-earned bomb flowers in a world where you sadly no longer have unlimited magical bombs. Thanks, Nintendo. The best thing about rock weapons is that you can use any of the multitude of rocks around Hyrule to make them, and unlike Korok seeds, they're easy to find. They even include the loose pieces of rubble that fall from the sky that are twice as powerful as a regular rock, and boulders which provide 3 times the power. However, do be warned about using them on certain weapons, as they do somewhat hamper some of their special attacks. That usually comes back, I swear. When you're walking around Hyrule at night and some skelly bokoblins, aka stalkoblins, crawl out the earth to attack you, you'd usually consider the night a write-off. You jump out of your skin and you have to stop what you're doing to fight off these annoying bony bastards. In Tears of the Kingdom, however, you should consider them friends in disguise and praise these skeletal adversaries for bringing you the ultimate weapon add-on, their horrible bony arms. In Tears of the Kingdom, these Bokoblin arms have 20 attack power, which is pretty much unmatched by anything else early game. They do deteriorate fairly quickly, so you're best off fusing them with the end of a more durable weapon, but if you fuse another weapon onto the end of a Bokoblin arm, it sometimes looks like it's holding it, which is adorable and a little terrifying. Bokoblin arm weapons are brilliant for some intense big hits in a busy fight, and if you fuse 2 together, you get a 40-hit weapon right away, which is always good to have in your back pocket, even if it does wriggle about a bit too much for our liking. Ugh. Early in the game, you'll be introduced to Zonai devices, useful tools created by the Zonai civilization that you can use when building rafts and such. However, you'll quickly discover that it's not the only use, as constructs have these Zonai devices attached to weapons and shields. One of the first you come across, and can easily get from a device dispensary, is the Flame-Emitter, a stony dragon head that spits out fire and looks pretty sweet if you ask us. We heavily recommend you have at least one of these on you at all times. Not only do they make good weapons, setting your enemies on fire and making them panic, but they can be useful for starting fires without using up flint, or for melting ice in the snowy areas of Hebra that the game guides you to early doors. We had a shield, but it didn't seem to last as long. You can use Fuse to attach flame emitters to anything you want, but if you want them to be at their best, you're best off attaching them to Zonaite weaponry, usually dropped by enemy constructs found on Sky Islands and in shrines. A Zonaite weapon is unaffected by the gloom, so is more durable, and, quote, resonates with attached Zonaite devices to slightly increase its attack power. So your flames will be even more effective. And I mean, they're flames. They're already pretty effective. We recommend the Flame-Emitter due to its dual usage, but this next Zonaite device weapon suggestion is purely for fun. We stumbled across a Beam-Emitter going southeast from Hyrule Field, so if you want one of these early game, we'd suggest heading in pretty much the opposite direction from Rito Village where the game first wants you to go. Keen explorers can even reach the Zonaite dispenser on the East Gerudo Sky Archipelago, southeast of the Great Sky Island starting area and above the Gerudo Canyon Sky Tower. Once activated, these unicorn head-shaped devices shoot a single beam of energy from their horn, and are so ridiculous that not telling you about them would feel like a crime against video games. These can be attached to anything for wide sweeping areas of attack, but our favourite combos are 1 with two-handed weapons, so you can have wide swings and spin attacks that really mess up your enemies, and 2 attaching it to a boomerang for the ultimate flying spinning laser energy beam weapon. I think we've discovered the most literal form of chaotic energy? Zonaite devices aren't the only Zonaite tech that can be attached to weaponry. Wandering on large stone circles looking like something that snuck out of Shadow of the Colossus can be found large lumbering flux constructs, Zonaite creations made up of lots of blocks. Even as a weakling in the early game, you can fight these constructs for sweet rewards and a cool weapon attachment. The way to easily defeat them is to, of course, attack the one glowy cube, a task made much easier by Link's special abilities. Rather than panic shooting arrows, just use the Ultra Hand to pull the cube away from the rest of the construct. This makes it all fall apart and allows you to wail on it for a good few seconds without being disturbed. It pulls itself back together and has different forms and stages, the hardest of which is the big flat square one, as it can be hard to find a good angle to reach the glowy stone. But through the wonderful experimentation that can be found in Tears of the Kingdom, we discovered on our third fight that you can run underneath it and use Ascend to get on top of it. And once on top, you can pull the cube out easily. After all that hard work, you'll get a bunch of Zonaite charges, some ready-packed Zonaite devices, and a weird spiky gear thing that you seemingly can't take with you. For Link's sake, do not leave this. This is a Flux Construct core and is a brilliant add-on for any weapon, especially Zonaite ones. It added a whopping 10 attack power to the items we put it on, which is rare for the beginning of the game and higher than a spiked iron ball, which for us has been harder to come by. It's a great blunt force weapon which can be used to mine ore, but we'd say keep your stone weapons for that and save this for big fights. Plus, these flux constructs respawn after a blood moon and their circular sky arenas are easy enough to find on your map, so you can always head back to resupply. In Breath of the Wild, most of the monster horns you picked up just got ground up into elixirs or sold to that weirdo Kilton. But Tears of the Kingdom has even more uses for them. One of these uses is, you guessed it, fusing them to weapons, and enemy horns are some of the best weapon add-ons you can find. First off, they are all nice and sharp, and believe me, you don't want to be stuck fighting an evil walking tree with only blunt weapons. This is fine, at least there's only one. Ah, Secondly, they're easy to make, as monsters drop horns more often than Hestu drops a Sigmaraka beat. And thirdly, all the monster parts with the highest fuse attack power levels are horns, so they can pack a punch. In fact, from our time with the game, we found that black-coloured monster variants are pretty much guaranteed to always drop their high-powered horns. Which is excellent news if you're feeling confident enough to go after one. When using these horns, we heavily suggest you don't attach them to decayed and easily breakable weapons, but instead save them for uncorrupted ones to get the most use out of them. For some of the best uncorrupted swords, head down into the depths and look out for these ghost soldiers on pillars. They might look spooky as heck, but they've usually got a shiny new weapon just perfect for your next high-powered monster horn. Plus, it's sustainable. We're using every part of the monster. Lizalfos, or Lizalfos if you prefer, are pretty annoying. They jump around more than other enemies, are faster than all of them and you, and they fight from a distance with spears and their weird tongues. Ugh. But it seems Tears of the Kingdom gets how annoying they can be, because these horrible chameleon-looking things now reward you with one of the most fun weapon attachments in the game, a Lizalfos tail. To get our hands on one of these, we had the best luck at monster encampments just west of Hyrule Field, such as this one north of Eagers Bridge. And when one eventually dropped, we attached it and... yes, it flails out like a gross wibbly party blower, and we love it. 1, it's hilariously disgusting, 2, it has great reach, and 3, it's great to beat up monsters with a tail as they try to hit you with theirs. I love this game. So there are some of the best weapons you can make in Tears of the Kingdom right near the start. As thanks for watching the whole video, we'll leave you with a special bonus tip. Always think about the order in which you fuse things. For example, to get the power of a two-handed weapon with the speed and attacks of a one-handed weapon, and the ability to still use a shield, make sure you're holding a one-handed weapon and fuse a two-handed weapon to it. Simple, but effective. Give us a like if you found this useful, share your favourite weapon combos in the comments, and subscribe for more videos like this one in future. Thanks for watching. Bye!